Hello everyone and welcome to a new session of Bware Labs webinar sessions. For today session we are going to talk about infrastructure because why not, this is what us at Bware Labs know best, and together with me here today I have Dimitri, who comes from another company that's uh, focused on infrastructure and trying to provide developer services within the Web3 ecosystem, uh, GetBlock. We will start as usual with a brief introduction, and I will let Dimitri talk a little bit about himself, about his experience in the blockchain world, and what he finds exciting about Web3 in general. And then maybe also give us an introduction about GetBlock in general.
So, hi everyone. Thank you for having me as a speaker today. It's also a great opportunity. Thank you so much. So, my name is Dmitry. I am the product manager, tech product manager at GetBlock. And GetBlock, it is a software as a service company, and we provide our clients and users with um, RPC nodes. So uh, through the comprehensive set of APIs, we connect applications such as exchangers and DeFi platforms, wallets, blockchain oracles, some security apps, and many other options to the blockchain. So our primary expertise lies in blockchain node management. We are mainly doing nodes, and our that's our main thing. What we know, what we love with all our hearts, and yeah. So I think mainly today we're gonna talk about nodes and how to manage it and how to work with them. Why do you need nodes, and why you don't want to run it on your own computer by yourself. So yeah.
Thank you, Dimitri. So, as probably everyone noticed already, this one is a discussion from or in between the same field of activity, since GetBlock and the Bware Labs through Blast API struggle to solve practically the same problem, the access to blockchain by Web3 developers. Basically, what I think we should explain here, since it's a webinar for non-technical people that try to understand technical stuff, is that in order to access a blockchain network, let's say it's Ethereum or Arbitrum or Optimism, you need access to an RPC endpoint or an WebSocket endpoint that is exposed by a full node or archive node from that chain. So what this means is that if you want to access the blockchain, send transactions, read stuff from the blockchain, you would need to run your node. This is all good and fine. If you have a machine, you can run a node, but the problem comes when you have to go into production and you need not one node, but I don't know, five nodes, three nodes, and you don't need nodes in just one region. You need to have a geographical coverage across the world, and you need someone to make sure that all nodes are in sync with the network. You need someone to basically make sure that nodes didn't crash, the service is up. So basically you don't just need some nodes, then you need a DevOps team and a lot of other stuff that are adjacent. So this is what both GetBlock and Blast API are trying to solve. I'm guessing through different approaches, but in the end the mission is the same and the type of service is similar. We're trying to provide APIs as a service to developers to make their time to market and their development a lot easier and faster by taking away or all this responsibility of running their own infrastructure in order to access the blockchain. So, yeah, this is a broad description of what we are trying to achieve. Now, maybe we could go into a little bit more details because I come from a engineering background. I think you do too. And in Web3, there is this term RPC that is used to define all blockchain APIs, even though some blockchains do not use the RPC protocol. They use REST or I don't know, different types. But maybe we could discuss a little bit about what RPC is and what is the role of full nodes in the blockchain ecosystem so that the audience can be aware of what we are talking about.
Yeah, sure. So let's start, I guess, with the RPC. So if we talking like in general, so RPC is a remote procedure call. Uh, we put in this like WebSockets, GraphQL requests, JSON RPC, REST, and any you can imagine, like gRPC also. Uh, we are trying to support all of them, but also you need to understand that different protocols, blockchain protocols, I mean Ethereum, AVAX, Bitcoin, Tone, or something, have different um, implementation of these RPCs. So Bitcoin supports REST, Ethereum supports JSON RPC and WebSockets, and sometimes in terms of your the app about your web-free application and your development, you need to understand what type of the RPC you need to use and you want to use. So sometimes you need to explore something new. Sometimes you know what you need to have, and maybe you could ask us or you as a blast, I mean, to try some additional things, some add-ons for uh, clients for running node, because sometimes some nodes could be modified by enthusiasts in the blockchain world, and they create some stuff like additional stuff. For instance, we have an additional thing like block book which help us to index Bitcoin like nodes, and it's very good and light um, tool, because for as a default option we block the methods which related to wallet methods, because you can create on your one on uh, your wallet on our node, put some money there, then tomorrow we decided to update this node and switch one to another and your money gonna disappear. So that's why we blocked these methods. And with this pack of methods also includes some indexing stuff and etc. That's why you need some additional stuff like blockbook, which also supports not only REST RPC and JSON and WebSockets too. So there are so many different ways to reach these reach goals you have, like as a developer. And we, as a providers, as a companies who trying to help our clients, our friends, to build their amazing apps and products, we are trying, I guess, reach this in some way.
That totally makes sense. Thank you for the broad explanation. Now, I think we also should touch a little bit upon the difference between using an RPC provider versus a self-hosted solution. And I'm not talking just in the case of a developer, but also when it comes from a blockchain perspective. There are a couple or some blockchains that self-host some of their infrastructure and offer it. And sometimes when discussing with them, some of them they don't understand exactly the importance of also having a RPC node provider within the ecosystem and how is that different? Why do you need an RPC node provider within the ecosystem if you want to get to enterprise level type of applications.
Well, if you're like lonely developer and you're working with some light testnet like Ethereum, whole sky, you can use your own computer, run it on your drive and your CPUs on your like computer, and have very low latency and work with it directly, and everything gonna be amazing because Ethereum has a great support, and it's gonna be easier to maintain it, to update it, and just you can work and have fun. But if you're working with a little bit more high-loaded systems, if you need to create a workload for thousands and millions of RPC calls per like hour or minute maybe, then you need something more robust, I would say, because if you're talking about testnet node, you can have like um, machine with 4 cores, like 8 GB RAM, and like about 100 GB storage. But if you're talking about mainnets for the same Ethereum, you need at least machine with 12 cores, then 64 128 RAM, and about 4 terabyte of NVMe storage, and only NVMe storage. So if we decide this to do it on your own computer, let's say it's gonna cost you about like 2K just to um, buy this computer and run it on your own. Then you need to pay for electricity, for internet connection, because you need a good bandwidth, and network should be amazing because nodes working with the peer-to-peer connection, I need to be connected to the blockchain like instantly, like every minute, every second, every moment of life, of blockchain life. Then you spend a lot of money on this. Then you need to keep it updated always. If the version is not the last, then you have risks of them having not right information or some security risk or etc etc. So there are so many points why you should keep your node updated, and why you need to think about it. But also you could update it to the last version and it's gonna be dead because the devs made a mistake and they create this um, uh, they like deploy last version to the git, you update it and they made a mistake and your node is done, is dead, and you need to sync it from the beginning. So there are so many issues about it. Then you need to keep it synced always on the actual height. You need to check it with other nodes. You need to be aware about split situation. You need to aware about um, your node health in general, about server disks, RAM, motherboard. Everything is a huge machine, which like not machine organism, everything working together, and you need to monitor it. You need a lot of systems, you need a lot of health checks, you need services which gonna help you keep your node alive. Then let's imagine how many resources you need to spend just for one node to keep it alive, working properly, and like work with it then. So first step, you need to make it properly working. Then you can start deploying and develop your application or some code or something. Or you can go to node provider, use free plan, or like buy some requests and subscription. For minimum it could be from 10 to 30 bucks per month for different providers, and forget about all this stuff and just work with nodes. and most of the providers like give you for this price a huge variety of the nodes of blockchains. You can go with Ethereum, all like EVM, like with Bitcoins, with Tron, ZK, and all everything you can imagine. Solana even. We don't talk about Solana today. Let's skip it. I don't want to have it in this conversation. It's a big problem, and yeah. So and then you understand that node could be not only full, like you can have archive data when your storage gonna rise by 20 terabytes of data, like full blockchain with all the information inside, like hashes, smart contracts, and everything gonna be included and put in your database. And it's gonna be 20 terabytes of data for Ethereum. So, oh my god! So it's gonna cost you even more. So I would pay 20 bucks per month. I'm gonna use the node provider who take care about all this stuff instead of me and work with my application and not thinking
Plus,
about.
in the case of a single node, we didn't even discuss about what happens if a node has like a downtime and then you can get it up to date, or it breaks and then you need a snapshot. You need to put it in order to put it back down and catch up to the tip of the chain, in which time your application is down, cannot be used. So this is something that providers save you, since there are multiple regions available, there's fallback in place, and it's higher availability, which it would be extremely costly and it wouldn't be worth it from a DApp perspective to invest in it when, as you said, starting with 10 bucks, you could simply get an endpoint and then get rid of all that work and responsibility. Yeah, I think that makes total sense. Uh, so let's talk a little bit about some specifics. Like I was wondering, and then we can basically compare notes. Uh, do you guys run a multi-region architecture, and also how do you make sure that faulty or misbehaving nodes are detected and taken out of, I don't know, the load balancing and so on, in order, I mean, if I come and use your endpoint, so that a node is not responding with faulty data so that it affects me.
So talking about multi-regional stories, so we have two main clusters. Like we have one in US region, second in the Europe. They are separated one to each other. They don't have nothing in common, so they live on lives, and we don't connect it in any way because US have some governments difference, law difference, and so we decided to keep it separate. But sometimes we can like copy database from one server to each other for other, and yeah, but in general, no. Then we have, I would say, two main things to keep availability high. So the first one, as you mentioned, yes, it's kind of load balancing. When you have several nodes united in one load balancing under one API, so when you send the request, it's gonna be sent on for one of their nodes. It could be create a session, so you would connect to one of these nodes in the load balancing, and you're gonna interact with one exact node to like avoid moments with the height difference, with request you send and information you get, just to like it's gonna be easier. um, it's one of the options. We are trying to divide the traffic like equally. We are not making some difficult things like um, comparing nodes by the resources, and this one is more powerful, second one is not so powerful. So in the first one we're gonna send 60% of traffic, on the second one we're gonna send 40% of traffic. We have similar nodes on the similar same servers and the load balancing, so we divide equally. uh, then here we also have an technology to keep the height of the nodes the same for all of them, and like on the actual height. If the node behind the actual height for more than like threshold, it depends on the blockchain. We exclude this node from the load balancing until it's gonna be healthy again. So that's load balancing. The second thing we have is called after switcher. So it's for mainly for our dedicated node users. When you buy your own node on your own server and you want to be only one on this and work with your application, then we create the system with after switching. And if node is not healthy, if it's gonna be overloaded or some troubles with the server, I mean with hardware, it's gonna be automatically switched with reserve with like 1 second downtime, but it's better than minutes and hours of downtime. So yeah, that's the second option. And mostly all of these things built with our own technology, which we built, named Universal Sidecar, Health Sidecar. When you um, for different blockchains, different protocols have different methods to understand the height, the actual height, and the status of the healthy or not healthy the node. For instance, for Ethereum and EVM-like nodes, we have a method like ETH syncing. You can send it and get a response that node is synced on the actual height, or its block deviation, or its depth. So other blockchains could not have this method, and you need to get the actual head and compare it with other nodes, with the block explorer or something. So we create universal sidecar where you can put the endpoints just of the nodes and compare it between each other and get the status of each node in this service. It's not perfect, of course. There are could be some issues, but the probability of these issues could be like 1% or something. So in all 99% of the situations, gonna work fine. So
When you say, sorry, just to make sure I understand, when you say that it's a sidecar, because we also have somewhat of a sidecar, you mean that there's like a software that runs along each node and make sure that the node is responsible for is basically in sync, and by comparing with other nodes or other sources, maybe even outside of GetBlock.
yes, yes, we compare our nodes with nodes outside, with nodes inside. We compare all the nodes like with other node providers, with public nodes, with everything. So these servers run with nodes, then connected to them like SDK, and then goes to the internet.
Understood. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yes, and I'm thinking to make it public because it's pretty easy and useful tool. Could help many devs and people in the industry to keep their nodes up.
Understood. Yeah, I mean, I think within the industry, and here I'm talking about the API providers, there's different ways in which people try to achieve data consistency for their APIs, and it's interesting to see how everyone thought about it. In the end, I think it gets boiled down to the same. type of approaches by using sidecars that compare nodes between them and then exclude the ones that are behind, or some approaches that I've seen are that there's a quorum that is created, and basically if 3 or 4 nodes respond with the same height, those are kept, and then if there's a node, even if it's ahead or uh, behind, it's taken out so that data is consistent for the how you call it, for the customers. Wanted to ask about this type of service, which as at Blast we don't have, like the dedicated node type of service that you provide. This means basically that someone can rent out their own full node or archive node for a specific blockchain, right? And then they pay a monthly fee for having that node available so that they are the only ones that use it. Uh, where do you see like a need for this type of service? Basically, who are the personas that would require a dedicated node versus an endpoint that talks to a pool of nodes behind the load balancer?
Well, here I have like several use cases. For instance, we have company Lossless, who's working with wide range of the blockchains, and for them it's crucial to have powerful, fast, and cost-effective RPC
Like for
endpoint.
everyone?
Yeah. And our dedicated nodes, help them to work with their workload because they are working with security, Web3 security, um, and they are customized solution for crypto wallets and smart contracts protection. Their products help DeFi teams enhance defense against exploits, monitor threats, and implement like penetration protection tools. So they have a huge workload. They need to have their own node with own parameters. Sometimes we change some default options, like we could change the binary which included in a client usually, and we can exchange it to um, change the response for several like certain methods and get another response for user, for client. So dedicated nodes is firstly very high loaded solution which could handle this high load, and secondly it's customizable. You can have anything you need on this solution. Yes, it costs more than our main shared solution, when you have for one subscription in $20 50 plus blockchains in one package. And if you're talking about dedicated nodes, you have only one node for the price. But for some issues, for some companies who need to have high workload, we work with dedicated nodes. Also, one of the examples could be Tangem. And I guess you know them, is the first ever card-shaped hardware crypto wallet that supports thousands of the blockchains or thousands of altcoins. They work with like NFTs, cables, and yeah, etc. So they also have a lot of dedicated nodes on our service just to keep their service alive. And I'm 100% sure we are not we are they using not only us. They have two, maybe three providers at the same time, because yes, we have availability of 99.99, but um, it could be some issues on infrastructure, or it could be some issues in network in general, and then you need to divide your workload with several node providers, just just
Yeah,
because it's
you could
our
simply do like a faulty upgrade, and then some providers that didn't didn't upgrade, they are the only ones standing, and the ones that upgraded, they have to come back to life. So yeah, this is something that happened a lot of times in the industry. We had a lot of incidents like that. Um, in our case, because Blast has distributed component in the sense that we run our own nodes as you do with a similar type of architecture. We have our own health checks, load balancing, and so on. And we also have a protocol in which third party node operators can join. And then we load balance to all the nodes, not only ours, but the third party providers as well. And because we have this health check system, we know which ones are in load balancing, which ones are out of load balancing. And what we've seen happening in terms of availability is that at some point we would upgrade on a network the nodes in a certain region, and the upgrade has to be rolled back. But the providers, they don't do, because they have like I don't know, more loose notifications around that, or they simply have another strategy. So the region is still up because providers forgot or didn't have the chance to update, and their nodes are still working while we revert the upgrades. Because blockchain is still a young technology, and blockchains themselves are not as reliable as I don't know, the web 2 has accustomed us with. So
Two completely similar nodes on two completely similar servers could work completely different for no reason, just because one decided to go upper and higher than actual height, and the second one decided to just that. I'm gonna be fine. So it's really sometimes struggling, and even we also using um, other node providers to back up some of our solutions for like keep the availability 99.9.
exactly, yeah. Uh, okay, so how do you decide which blockchains to integrate next? What's your strategy around that?
That's the good question. Honestly, I can give you an answer how we decide to remove blockchain from our list because it's my responsibility mostly. And if we're talking about new blockchains, it's mainly related to our marketing team because they do research, they go to young companies, ask how they doing, and do they want to have a co-marketing and partnership with us, and then we could list their protocol on our shared notes list. So yeah, to add someone in our list is being honestly is quite easy. You just need to have a great product with a huge audience.
And some traction.
And yeah, for sure. And if we have some issues with blockchain nodes with the protocol and see it's not as popular as we expected, we have some traction and with some metrics to understand is it interesting enough for our users or not, then we could make a solution to exclude the blockchain from our shared node list. So that's the question to exclusion, and for to add it's also easy. It's marketing researches, and sometimes also it could be just you can bot a place on our list. It's not so popular, but sometimes guys came to us and said like we get ready to pay, just list us, and we say like no, your protocol is not interesting, it's shit, we can't run it on our site, then we don't want to work with you. Or in other way we can come to the young company who create a great product and ask them, guys, we just want to run your protocol, we already run it, we have it on our list, just let's cooperate, let's make co-marketing, let's make documentation, let's make blog, let's go to the podcast or something, we're ready to work with you. So it's very interesting way to work with the market and companies on this market and blockchains and developers, but mainly it's really our marketing stuff and our uh, guys from partially from business development team too.
Yeah, makes total sense. In our case, we also have like our CEO likes to say that we have similar to a VC approach, in which we verify the chain in terms of a couple of dimensions like technology, team, community, and then traction after they launch. And these are the main components that are important when deciding if we should integrate them
Yeah,
or
yeah.
not. Can I ask how many chains do you guys currently support?
Oh, I would say between 50 and 60.
Oh, that's
I
like
don't
a big
remember
number.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Recently we have some movement, and I don't remember exactly number right now. So something between two these numbers.
Okay, and one last, I don't know, logistical question before we go to my more philosophical part of the discussion. Uh, what I was curious about, how do you guys handle our approach the team and team members? Is it like a distributed team that's globally and remote, or do you have like an office and a team that's mm, sits closer together, or it's a mix?
It was mixed. Like we used to have an office, and partial part of our team was distributed. But I would say about a year ago, we decided to go only for remotely, and all our team is distributed. Some of us sitting in Europe, in several guys in US, I would say. Um, Several guys moved to Dubai, and part, I would say, one of the hugest part sitting in Georgia and Serbia, because we have two like legal entities, and our main one like headquarters in Serbia in Belgrade. And
It's
in
close
the
by.
beginning, hmm?
That's close by. I'm actually calling from Bucharest.
Yeah. I'm sitting in Berlin, in Germany, and we're gonna team gathering in beginning of June on Ethereum Belgrade, and also have a small party for guys who can come. So right now we are like spread everywhere, but yeah, mostly it's Europe and Asia.
It sounds good. Now, next, I would like to go into more into the vision for the company and services. I'm curious how what was the initial vision for the company, if that has changed, and what is the vision going forward?
Um, we exist almost for 4 years already, and I came to company about 3 years ago in August 21, and then we have 15 people. Right now we about 60. And those years, like then, our CEO told me that initially we were a team who helped our founder's pet project to run the nodes. We wasn't considered like company who gonna sell the nodes and be a node provider. We just uh, considered like helpers and just who gonna support the main project of our founders. And then we found some clients just accidentally and sell them several nodes and understood that it could be possibly a solution to cover some costs that we have. And then we started to grow. Um, we ran a lot of BNB Smart Chain nodes. Those time it was BSC. In 2021, it was about 100 nodes only for BSC and several hundred for other blockchains. Right now, we are moving to 1,000, and yeah, we are thinking about creating new like solutions for devs because of course the blockchain node is the first step in any DApp development. You need to be connected to the blockchain, you need to work with the API, but nowadays we see that a lot of users, a lot of our clients would prefer to work with ready APIs like indexers or event trackers. And of course, they wanted to have some security for their app. And they don't want to develop it by themselves. They just want to have the ready solution and work with it. So right now we are thinking about moving to some APIs which are working on the nodes, but with our own documentation, with our own development, and it's gonna be our own things which we created with the years of experience. We are working with nodes and know how market exists, how market appears, how what do the people and clients need to. So I think it's gonna be our next steps to like make GetBlock bigger and greater.
Nice. Would you say that in terms of usage, the split would be predominantly towards dedicated nodes, or it goes more on the sharded, or as you call it, I think sharded portion?
If you're talking about people and quantity of people of users, that's definitely shared nodes there. It's most interesting product. But we still have big clients for dedicated nodes, and we don't want to like say them like bye bye. We don't want to work with dedicated nodes anymore. We're gonna work with shared. No, of course not. We're gonna support both these products because it's our main products for a while, and all the stuff we're gonna develop is gonna be additional. So we right now concentrate on shared nodes mainly. Of course, we still support dedicated nodes, and because it's shared nodes and dedicated nodes, it's also nodes, and they are connected between each other and support and like stuff like health sidecars and other services which could help us to monitor and alert the problems and keep the availability are like in the same place. So we concentrate on shared nodes. We don't give up on dedicated nodes, and we are thinking to create our new APIs which gonna help our users to work with blockchains.
Okay, makes total sense. And now for the last question of the day. Um, what would you say it is required from an infrastructure standpoint to make Web3 technology get to mainstream adoption? In my opinion, all layers like the product layer or business layer, the infrastructure layer, the blockchain layer itself, they have a responsibility in order to bring Web3 to mass adoption. I was wondering, like from a dev tools and infrastructure provider, what would you think would be the responsibility that we share into, I don't know, making our contribution to achieve this?
So we share a lot of responsibility because because of shitty nodes, because of block deviation, clients and devs who working with their the apps could lose a lot of money just because they got no actual information and they got like messed up with something and just lost the moment when buy or sell or doing other stuff. That's biggest our responsibility, and we really like thinking about it every day, and that's why we have a reserve of our infrastructure with the other node providers, just because we understand the responsibility. Then the second one is security, of course. That's also very big thing because uh, we had a client who didn't anonymized himself. He just used his email and stuff like this, and he bought a lot of dedicated nodes and make a big check and start to abusing it in a one way, let's say. Then we start to look for information. What is he doing? And we found his Twitter because it was on the same email he joined our service. And in this Twitter, he sent the information on how he scam people on the blockchain, how he fraud people and get so many money. That's that's what like the issue for us. Like we understand that we could have a lot of money with this guy, but we don't want to work with this guy because it's not ethical. It's not ethical. It was yeah. So we just make a refund and send him like goodbye, have fun, and please don't get back. So sometimes you need to choose between being a good person, a good business, and responsible business and money. And like on the first sight, in the first place, it could seem like money is good for business, and that's the only thing. Like businesses exist for money, of course, we all on this understand. But I would say, uh, on long distance, being a good person, being a good business, may is more profitable rather than having money right here and right now. So responsibility for like your users, for your clients is very big thing, and you need to be honest and transparent in front of them. And I'm as a like leading technical and customer support, trying to like say guys like don't lie, tell them how it's, if we messed up, we messed up, just be honest. That's fine.
Yeah,
We are
actually, it's you create more trust by being transparent, and
yeah,
people
yeah.
remember you like that rather than I don't know, trying to cover up when it's obvious.
Yes,
Or
people are not stupid. They see even devs who are working with the stuff, they know why you could mess up, and they just understand. They can like make 1 plus 1 and understand that you messed up. You are trying to say that it's the weather, it's storm on the east coast. That's why our node is down. No, of course not. You just messed up with update or something, and just be honest, and it's gonna be fine.
yep, that makes sense. I always tell the team that sometimes a bad situation that is handled perfectly or in a good way gives you it's more valuable for you in regards to your customers than if the situation never happened. So an incident can put you in a very good light if you answered in time, if you were fully transparent and fixed it quickly, then you get more trust than if it didn't fail at all. So because people remember your behavior during crisis more than when they didn't need you at all. So yeah,
And on distance, you're gonna have clients who believe in you, who knows that you're not lying there. They can rely on you. You gonna just keep them, and it's much more profitable rather than working with guys who come and leave you.
that
So
totally makes sense. Okay, sir, I think we reached to the final of our current discussion. Um, the we will make this available for our community and your community, and
yeah,
I hope there was like an interesting discussion and people
it was
understood more
fun,
about
honestly.
the struggles of RPC providers within the ecosystem and our role within all this
Of
Web3.
course, like we are
Uh,
not enemies. We are working on the same field.
yep. Thank you
Yeah.
and have a great rest of the day.